Hi, I'm John Adams. Thank you for joining me today. This video is one of several I'm producing in a series on tips and tricks you can use to speed up a slow performing PC. In this video, we're going to take a look at defragmenting your hard drive. Now, Windows 7, and I imagine Windows 8 has improved even more, but Windows 7 has come a long way in terms of keeping your hard drive defragmented. So one of the things that you'll probably discover as you go through this video is that you don't need to do defragmenting, and there's no advantage to doing it yourself. It's an automated process for your computer if you have not changed the defragmenting settings. When Windows is initially installed, the default setting is for defragmenting to be turned on, and then once a week the Windows program will go through and run that defragmenting tool and automatically clean up your disk, and so you don't have to worry about it. The only time you maybe would want to go ahead and run it manually is if after, let's say, you had uninstalled several programs, perhaps several MP3 files, something of that nature where you did a lot of activity in a short amount of time and it might take Windows a while to catch up with you. Then you would go through the process and just manually initiate a defragment cycle, and that would clean up all of that activity at one time. But like I said, in most cases you're going to find that Windows 7 does a pretty good job, and you probably will never have to worry about this. But if you're interested, let's just step through it and take a look at what the tool looks like and what the process is. Okay, so let's click on the Start button. And over in the right hand column we've got the computer option. Just left mouse click, a single click on that, and you can see here I've got my hard drives, and the defragment process would have to be run separately for each one of the hard drives that's installed on your PC. So let's take a look at the C drive. We'll right click anywhere in this area so we make sure we've selected the C drive. We should get a pop-up menu, and from here we'll click on Properties. Now we get a menu with a lot of different pieces of information. We want to make sure that we've selected the Tools tab. Okay, and you can see we've got three main buttons here. We've got the Check Now, which will run a disk check for errors, and will try to correct them if it can. And I have another video where we talk about that process. And here is where the defragmentation tool is run. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this now. It says defragment now, but it doesn't actually start the defragment process when you click. You'll see here we get a menu, and I've got three different items here: my C drive, my D drive, and then my system reserve drive, which you definitely should never mess with. The C drive is the main Windows drive. That's where all my Windows programs are installed, and that's the one that has the most activity, and frankly that's the one that typically gets defragmented. But as you can see, it shows 0% fragmented, and I've owned this PC about a year, and I've only manually defragmented maybe twice, and I wasn't even needing to do it. I was just running it just to remind myself of how it's done. And so mine is set at 0, so there's really no point in doing a defragment on this disk. And like I said, you're probably going to find that yours is the same way. But if you've done a lot of activity and you want to just maybe refresh it and just make sure that it's running as clean and quick as it can, then you can go through the steps. So first thing you want to do is click on this Analyze Disk down here. I'm not going to click on it, but if you click on it, it's going to start an analysis cycle. And it'll take about 5 minutes to go through, and it'll just measure all of the programs and see how many of them are scattered and fragmented and would benefit from having their sectors combined so that they're all lined up in a row. And then of course once you get the analysis done, then it'll give you a number up here, and it'll recommend yes or no, defragment or don't defragment. And if it does say yes, then you would click on the defragment button right here, and it would step through the process of defragmenting that hard drive. Now depending on how much activity is required, that could be finished in 5 minutes, or it could take an hour. So you want to make sure that you leave yourself plenty of time if it does need to be defragmented, and you don't want to interrupt it in the middle of that process. So that's it in a nutshell. Like I said, you're probably going to find you don't need to if you're running Windows 7 or Windows 8, but now you know how to get to the tool and do the defragmentation process. And again, let me point out that each hard drive has to be handled separately. Now you can see my D drive is 2% fragmented. Again, anything less than 10% is probably not worth taking the time to defragment. So I'm going to close this, and now you know how to do a defragment check and actually execute the defragment process if you need to on your hard drive. This is John Adams. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in a future video.